Hi, this is the first of two tutorials about 9/11 from my perspective. This one's going to be focusing on what happened in New York City at the World Trade Center, and it's going to include a little bit of information about people I knew who were affected directly or indirectly by what happened that day. Um, my personal perspective with the Twin Towers is that they were built around the time when I was a little kid. And so when I was somewhere between 6 and 8 years old, my uncle, who was a building manager in Lower Manhattan, invited my family in to have lunch with him when he had to work one Saturday. And then he took us down to see something pretty amazing. We walked down to this large construction site, and in it were the two towers. One of them was the North Tower was surrounded by fencing inside of which was scaffolding and construction equipment. But the top of the fencing was surrounded by barbed wire. Now, the reason my uncle said that that was the case was because there had been instances of people stealing equipment from the sites. This is New York City, and so they put the barbed wire up around it to prevent the thievery. The two towers were 110 stories tall. They were the largest buildings in New York when they were completed. Between them, they could hold 50,000 employees. In addition, in a typical day, there was upwards of 140,000 visitors to the towers. These were both people coming for business reasons or to be tourists and see the view from the top of the building. So when we walked towards the building, the thing that struck me was the size. When we got up close enough that we were close to the fencing, when I looked up, I looked straight up, and the building just kept going up and up and up and up. Again, 110 stories tall, flat on all sides. It looked like the building literally went up right into the sky. The buildings were close to a mile wide on each side, 0.85 miles per side, roughly. That's a massive sized building. Again, from the distance that we were at the base, it looked like they just were everywhere. And so it really was an impactful thing. That's important to understand because when the attacks began on 9/11, some of the news reporters did not really understand how large the buildings were. And therefore, they were talking about it like it was a small plane based on the size of the hull. But if you understand how large the buildings were, it does make a difference. Now, I must say at this point that these buildings were considered an eyesore when they were being built. A lot of people did not like them. The traditional skyscraper had a sloping top to it with a spire at the top, and these did not. These were flat topped, and even though they put antennas on top of the North Tower, they didn't have any kind of impact in terms of that. They looked like big blocks, and people did not like that look. There were 7 buildings total at the World Trade Center when it was completed. The Twin Towers are the landmark, but the other 5 buildings were impacted by the attacks. This is a great picture that I love of people standing at St. Patrick's Cathedral in Midtown Manhattan. It is across from Rockefeller Center. And these people clearly knew that something was wrong based on news reports coming from NBC, which was located at Rockefeller Center. But they're looking south towards the smoke rising in the distance. So this is the picture that I saw something similar to after the first attack. I was feeding my daughter breakfast before taking over to my neighbor for daycare. When on WTOP News, I heard a report. Oh, it seems there's a report coming out of New York that a plane crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center. And the way the casualness of the reporter made it sound like this is just some odd event. And so my immediate thought was, oh, this must be some rich old white guy who was flying his little propeller plane and had a heart attack, died, and crashed the plane into the building because he couldn't control it. Clearly, if you look at the scene here, you would have to be aiming at the buildings not to be able to avoid them if you wanted to, because there is nothing at that height around them. The first plane went in at about the 80th floor of the building, meaning that 30 floors above were still weighing down on that hole. And the picture here gives a better sense of it, because when the wind blew while I was watching TV and I saw the size of the hole, I knew right away it was not some small propeller plane. This was a commercial jet that had crashed. The thing that struck me was the fact that this must have been intentional, because no pilot in his right mind or her right mind would have allowed the plane to fly directly into the towers. This is a massive hole, considering that what we're looking at is probably about 0.6 of a mile wide. I went up to check on my daughter, and I came back downstairs, and I looked at what I thought was a rerun of the first plane crashing the tower. But then I noticed that the reporter was in a hysterical state, and he kept saying, "It's happened again, it's happened again." What we were seeing was the second plane crashing into the South Tower. What you'll notice is the plane crashing in the South Tower did so at more of an angle and did so towards a lower floor. It happened closer to the 60th floor, meaning that almost half of the building was above the crash site. And it wasn't in dead center, it was towards the side or corner of the building. What this meant is that the building had more structural problems as a result of the fire. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that both of these planes had close to 20,000 gallons of jet fuel in their tanks when they crashed. And when they crashed, the impact on the buildings caused those tanks to explode open and then to catch fire. This meant that there were huge fireballs burning down the interior of these buildings. This is a view from up north of the towers in Lower Manhattan. Here is a view from two different locations in the city. In Lower Midtown Manhattan, we have at New York University the arch. At Washington Square Park. This is a famous landmark in New York City. If you ever go down near the NYU area, you may have seen it. But it's got this incredible view of the Twin Towers through the arch that was captured by this photographer. On the right, we have the Empire State Building. The Empire State Building was the tallest building in New York until the building of the World Trade Center. The Empire State Building was subject to a plane crashing into it. A B-52 bomber crashed into it back during World War II. And as a result of that, the building codes were changed in terms of safety. So fortunately, the World Trade Center towers were built much more strongly. But look at how big the fire is and how amazing this is. This is almost 3 miles away that we're looking down. Here's a view from across in Brooklyn from under one of the bridges. And here's a view of the Brooklyn Bridge with the smoke coming up from the other side of Lower Manhattan. To understand, the World Trade Center was located along the Hudson River. This is the East River we're looking at here. It reminds me of one of my closest friends from high school, Rob. Rob lived in Brooklyn Heights at the time of 9/11. Rob was in a subway train, probably he thinks traveling underneath the Twin Towers on his way to work on that morning when the attacks occurred. By the time he reached 14th Street, where a major station is on the trains on the west side of Manhattan, the trains were ordered evacuated, and when he went upstairs, he could see the smoke coming from downtown. He had to contact his office and was told basically go home. The only way to get home at that point for anyone living in the outer boroughs was to walk. So he basically joined a mass of people walking down to the Brooklyn Bridge and crossing over it back to Brooklyn Heights. This to me is one of the most amazing pictures that captures what was going on that day. The woman on the left in the pink blouse has this grimace on her face as she's looking up, and it captures for me the sense of horror and shock and loss in terms of fear because things were changed irreparably. The woman on the right who is crying to me represents that sense of loss of innocence, loss of lives, loss of friends, loss of the way of life. One of the things you may not realize is that the way people felt about safety prior to 9/11 is very different from how they felt afterwards. There was a sense of the loss of independence from having to worry about security. These people were beneficiaries of the fact that in 1993, there was another terrorist attempt on the World Trade Center. At that time, a truck packed with explosives was driven into the parking garage underneath the World Trade Center. They were planning to bring the truck up against a support column for one of the towers and blow up the truck with all the explosives on it. Fortunately or unfortunately, the truck exploded on one of the parking ramps rather than down where it was planned. And while it caused significant damage to the cars and to the floors above and below where the truck was of the parking garage, it did not damage the buildings significantly. There were some damage to the wiring systems. But what it required was that all the people in both buildings were forced to do an evacuation. And so, in a sense, it was a fire drill 8 years before September 11. And many of those people continue to work there. So they knew where the stairwells were. There are only three stairwells that go from the top of the buildings to the bottom. And therefore, when the elevator shut down, which is a normal thing when a building is in having problems with fire or explosion or such, most people knew where to go. Some people, unfortunately, were in the South Tower after the North Tower hit, were told to stay in place and not to leave the building. A lot of people knew better and started to evacuate. It's important to keep in mind that while it's still an incredibly large loss of life, less than 3,000 people died at the World Trade Center due to the terrorist attacks on 9/11 directly. When I see this picture, I think of my wife's best friend from high school, Melissa. Melissa, at the time, lived in Hoboken, New Jersey, across the river, and she worked for the American Express Company at the American Express building on the Hudson River near the World Trade Center. On the morning of 9/11, Melissa was getting ready for a meeting in one of the conference rooms that had big windows that faced across at the South Tower. While she and her coworkers were getting ready, they noticed a dot in the sky to the north, or the northwest. And as they watched, it kept getting larger and larger, and they realized that one between the smoke coming from the North Tower, that this must be another plane, and they didn't know for sure it wasn't heading for their building. Again, American Express, being a major American corporation, might have been a target. So they literally dashed their way out of the conference room into interior offices and waited. And when the sonic boom hit, when the plane crashed into the South Tower, it literally caused the window on that conference room to shatter. It was fragments. But because it's safety glass, it was all in place. Well, one of her coworkers went up and touched the window, and the whole thing collapsed. Now, because it's safety glass, no one was hurt. But I remember her saying, "He's an idiot. You don't do that kind of thing." Well, anyway, they had wait in interior offices away from the blast site for a while until their manager finally told them, "Okay, let's exit the building." They exited on the side farthest away from the World Trade Center, and they had to then walk north away from Lower Manhattan. She had to walk to 42nd Street to catch a ferry there to Hoboken, New Jersey. Well, she brought with her her briefcase, and she brought with her her bag with her laptop computer. And when she arrived in Hoboken, New Jersey, she was greeted by the Hoboken Fire Department, which proceeded to spray her and the other people down with fire hoses. And she was really upset because she was worried that her laptop was damaged, her papers were damaged. But then somebody from the police department explained to them that they were doing this to protect them just in case the stuff coating them, the dust, the ash, etc., was on them. There's another picture of people covered with ash and smoke. Here is a picture of when the first attack was taking place, part of the building that came down first onto a restaurant and hotel at the base of the buildings. Some of the wreckage. This to me is one of the most amazing pictures. Looking at snowing, what's actually happening is it's so dark that the photographer used a flash camera, and therefore the flash caused the pieces of ash to look like snow falling. But notice that two of the three have their faces covered to protect them from whatever's in the air. Some of the remnants of the building the day after. The famous flag that was placed in the wreckage. Amazing picture of a fire truck that suffered damage in the attack. And then the great concern about the fact that there was things in the dust that could cause problems. A lot of the people who served as first responders on 9/11 are suffering from health problems now. And in fact, Congress just recently passed a bill providing more money for that fund. So here are the source citations for the episode. My parents did call me back at about 2:30 in the afternoon. They could finally get through. They were walking on the beach that morning because it was a beautiful day, and they're retired. And I thought, good for them. But at the same time, I was really worried. They also told me that my brother, who I had tried to reach and couldn't even get through because the lines were jammed, was okay as well. He was going to go down to visit a client in Lower Manhattan, but because the couple who owned the business were taking their daughter to preschool, he knew they weren't going to be available till after 9 o'clock. So he went to his office first. And when he walked in, they were relieved to see him because they thought also that he was going downtown. Watch the second tutorial, which will also provide some more information about how this relates to what you're going to be doing. Thanks.